This is not clickbait. Despite many of us losing hope, Gege Akutami has actually gifted us an amazing Christmas present in the form of a multi-story epilogue for Jujutsu Kaisen. That's right, you heard me, multi-story, as in multiple stories. They aren't very long at all, but they are very good, and there's a lot to be discussed about that, especially Sukuna's, which will be the focus of today's video. Because in this epilogue, Gege Akutami did what we all thought was impossible at this point. He gave us an actual Sukuna flashback to how he met Uraume in the Heian era. Now, if you are a regular viewer of my channel, then you will know that I actually wrote a fan-made flashback of how Sukuna met Uraume already, and to my genuine surprise, I was actually very close to the real thing. I've been yapping through this intro for long enough though, so make sure to leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and let's get right into reviewing this all-new Sukuna content. Now, like I said, this flashback is remarkably similar to the one that I wrote and made a video on, so be sure to go watch that video because you'll have a better time understanding exactly what it is that I am referencing. But the flashback begins with a panel of Uraume sulking among a pile of frozen corpses. In fact, Uraume themselves is actually all cold and frosty too. It seems that Uraume must have recently developed their ice technique, since we are informed that when Uraume woke up, everyone around them was cold. And this led to Uraume accidentally killing their parents, hence the frozen corpses that we see them sitting next to. This right here was actually a key part of the flashback that I wrote, what with Uraume realizing that they were a dangerous person to be around. And this of course leads to isolation, which is a massive theme within Jujutsu Kaisen as a whole. A fully grown Heian-era Sukuna then wanders by and sees Uraume sitting alone, all sad and sulky. He pulls that same bored expression with his lower two arms crossed and simply tells Uraume to come with him. Apparently, Sukuna broke his ice house the day before, or more accurately, he crushed it. Quite how Sukuna managed that, I honestly don't know. I mean, either he really is useless at cooking, or he just got angry at something and decided that his fridge needed to pay the price. Also, yes, unless you have half a brain, you should hopefully realize that an ice house is just a way of describing an old-fashioned fridge. But like, really old-fashioned, you know? Anyway, Uraume agrees to go with this 4-armed, 8-foot monster for some dumb reason, because like, stranger danger and all that, you know? Sukuna takes Uraume to a big old carcass that Sukuna seemingly hunted down that day, but now has nowhere to keep it cool because he crushed his fridge. And I gotta be honest, Sukuna, you are one dumb son of a bitch if you broke your fridge trying to fit that behemoth in there. You literally have a slicing technique. Just slice it up and slide it right in. It's really not that hard, bro. But yeah, Uraume agrees to keep Sukuna's meat cold. Whores. Actually, Uraume goes a step further and cooks up a lovely meal for Sukuna over a campfire, which is yet another similarity with my version of the flashback. Uraume's stomach must have started growling or some shit, because Sukuna starts just tearing into them, saying shit like, "Are you stupid, bruv? Why are you hungry? There is a mountain of meat right in front of you, just go and eat whatever you want, you dumbass." And after eating, Uraume actually asks Sukuna what he thought of the food. In response, Sukuna pulls a somewhat satisfied looking face and then actually acknowledges that Uraume's food tastes pretty damn good. Uraume continues to explain that they cooled the meat and dried it out by blowing at it before finally cooking it. When Sukuna asked who taught Uraume to cook like this, they simply said they were bored and learnt it themselves, which is something Sukuna can definitely relate to. Being able to cook some dead deer is not really enough to satisfy Sukuna though, so he asks Uraume a very important question. He asks if they can butcher a human too, to which Uraume says nothing. Sukuna then follows up by saying it's a sort of delicacy. Now, I realize this is almost definitely not the intention here, because come on, this is Sukuna we're talking about, but the way this was translated makes it seem like Sukuna got all self-conscious of the fact that he eats people and then tries to make it sound less weird. I know that's definitely not the intention behind Gege's writing, but I find it kind of funny because it does look as if he starts stumbling on his words a bit. The final interaction between them though is actually what pushed this tiny little mini chapter from cool to okay Gege, I was not familiar with your game. Uraume looks up at Sukuna and questions why he doesn't get cold when he's around them just like everyone else. And this is again something that I incorporated into my version of this flashback when I wrote it before. I had a feeling Uraume was drawn to Sukuna because they must have accidentally hurt others around them with their technique, but Sukuna was strong enough for that to not be an issue, like at all. It seems I was right to think this because I believe that is exactly exactly what Gege was going for here. Uraume realizes that Sukuna is someone who they don't have to worry about accidentally hurting, and someone that they can very safely and comfortably serve. And this right here is likely the drive behind Uraume's relentless glaze of Sukuna throughout the series that they kept up right until their last breath. Although it does make their matchup with Hikari slightly more meaningful, since Hikari is literally the definition of a man who can get close to Uraume without being hurt. In no way, shape or form does this excuse how unbelievably horrific Hikari versus Uraume was handled in the manga, but it does add something to appreciate when considering the matchup, you know? This, however, is not even the best part. The best part of this entire flashback is how Sukuna responds to this question from Uraume, and that is of course assuming that I have not been trolled by translations, which is very possible, I admit. The final page of this mini chapter shows that same shot from the finale of Sukuna and Uraume walking to the afterlife together, and it is here where we hear Sukuna say, "The same goes for you, Uraume. Why did you not get cold being by my side?" And I think this pairs very nicely with what we learn about Sukuna from that final chapter, where he wonders what life would have been like if he had gone down a different route. This final interaction with Uraume confirms that Sukuna had a genuine appreciation for Uraume's presence. Uraume was not simply tolerated by Sukuna and used as a tool for his culinary needs. Even if Sukuna himself wasn't aware of it, it seems as though Sukuna genuinely valued Uraume as a friend who stood by his side. Sukuna was abandoned by his mother, who he can't even remember, and he would have been rejected by most because of his scary-ass deformities. But Uraume never hesitated to follow Sukuna out of admiration as opposed to fear. They were genuinely friends, and Sukuna wasn't actually alone all this time. Like I said, Sukuna probably wasn't even aware of it while he was alive, but I think Mahito was right. Sukuna had been lying to himself. He didn't fully live by his own ideals. He was driven by resentment and revenge. He was cursed and hence became a curse. In the end, he didn't understand what Gojo and Yuji so desperately wanted to teach him, but that may have actually changed by the time Sukuna ended up in the afterlife talking to Mahito and Uraume. So yeah, for a literal 4-page bonus chapter, this genuinely is a really nice addition to Sukuna's character as well as Uraume's. I thought these volume extras were gonna be one big nothing burger, but I actually really enjoyed them, and it makes me wish we got to see more of this stuff explored in the actual story. But this specific flashback of Sukuna with Uraume definitely added to Sukuna's already amazing ending, and I'm really happy we finally got confirmation on how they met in the Heian era, even if it was a very simple story like this. More importantly though, I just need to know how Sukuna managed to crush his ice house. Like, how did he manage that? What was he doing? Does he even have a house, or is he just wandering around from place to place with his icebox packed up on his back like Tanjiro? Please, Gege, I need to know the secrets of Sukuna's living situation and how he broke his fridge. It's very important information. Anyway, that does it for my breakdown of Sukuna's bonus flashback, and honestly, I'm still shocked that I managed to come this close to predicting how they met. If you enjoyed, then make sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel, because I will be talking about the other stories released in the JJK epilogue very soon. Feel free to join the Discord and follow me on Twitter, links below. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in a bit.